Hi, McPherson First. I'm glad you're taking a few minutes to watch this. Earlier this year, we invited the whole congregation to complete a strategic direction survey, a chance for you to tell us what you value about McPherson First, where you'd like to see us grow, and what needs you see in our community. 52 of you responded, and I'm excited to share what you told us. This is the same data the leadership board used at our strategic planning retreat on March 7th, and it will shape our ministry funding plan for 2026-2027. I wanted to make sure that the whole congregation got to see it too, because these are your voices and you deserve to know how they're being heard. So let me walk you through what you said. Before we get into the details, here are 3 headline numbers. We received 52 responses from across the congregation. When we asked how strongly you feel you belong at McPherson First on a scale of 1 to 10, the average score was 8.8. That tells me something important is happening here. And our Net Promoter Score, which measures how likely you are to recommend this church to someone else, came in at plus 68. That means 37 out of 50 people who answered that question rated us a 9 or 10 out of 10. That's a strong foundation, and it reflects the kind of community we're building together. Here's a snapshot of who responded. We heard from people across the spectrum, from folks who've been here 30 plus years to people who've been part of this congregation for less than a year. The 10:15 service was most represented with 29 responses, and the 8:30 service had 17. On age, the 66 to 80 range was our largest group. I do want to be honest that younger families and newer members are underrepresented in this data, so we'll keep looking for ways to hear from those voices too. These 2 scores really stood out. The belonging score of 8.8 comes from the question, how strongly do you feel you belong at McPherson First on a scale of 1 to 10? That's encouraging. It means people genuinely feel connected here. The Net Promoter Score of plus 68 is calculated by taking the percentage of promoters, people who scored 9 or 10, and subtracting the percentage of detractors, those who scored 0 through 6. Anything above plus 50 is considered excellent. So plus 68 tells us you're really enthusiastic about our church. Thank you for that. Now let's look at how you rank the strategic priorities we've been considering. This is where it starts to get really interesting. We asked you to rate 6 strategic areas on a scale of 1 to 5. Building financial sustainability came in highest at 4.4, followed closely by strengthening community impact at 4.2. Developing leadership capacity and deepening discipleship were both right around 3.9, with growing worship engagement at 3.8. What stands out to me is that all 6 areas rated above the midpoint. You see value in all of these, but financial sustainability and community impact clearly rise to the top. The leadership board used these rankings to help prioritize where we focus our energy and our resources. We also asked about 5 specific proposals. Community impact work, things like Step MC and the food cupboard, received the highest support at 4.5. Volunteer leadership development came in at 4.1, and grace groups and classes at 4.0. You're telling us that you care deeply about serving our neighbors and growing together in faith. These results are helping shape what we prioritize in our ministry funding plan for July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027. When we asked directly whether you'd participate in a grace group, 25% said yes, definitely, and 57% said maybe, I'd like to learn more. That's 82% who are either interested or open. That level of enthusiasm gives us real confidence as we work toward launching grace groups. We'll have more to share about that in the months ahead. We asked which area of financial growth feels most important, and the overwhelming answer, 80%, was all are equally important. That's a remarkable expression of trust. It tells me that you trust the leadership board to balance these priorities wisely, and we take that trust seriously as we build our ministry funding plan and our financial growth for the years ahead. The survey also gave you space to share in your words. These open-ended responses were some of the most meaningful things we read. Here are the themes that came through. When asked what you value most about McPherson First, 5 themes came up again and again. Community and relationships, that feeling of church family and genuine connection. worship and preaching, meaningful music, and messages at both services. Servant mission, Step MC, the food cupboard, the church reaching into our community. Youth and children's ministry, active programming that draws families. And the welcoming atmosphere. People said they feel included and that they belong. These are the things that make McPherson First who we are, and we want to keep building on them. You were also honest about what you'd like to see change, and I appreciate that. More people in the pews, growth and engagement, inviting neighbors and family. More volunteers, shared responsibilities so it's not the same few doing everything. Deeper connections through small groups. More music and creativity in worship. And greater transparency about finances and leadership decisions. These are honest reflections, and the leadership board is taking them seriously as we plan ahead. Finally, we asked what needs you see in McPherson. Childcare and after-school programs came up repeatedly. Food insecurity and poverty, expanding what we already do. Crisis housing and transition support. Youth engagement and safe spaces for young people. And college student outreach, connecting with Central Christian and McPherson College. These responses help us see where God might be calling us to serve more deeply. Thank you to every one of you who took the time to share your thoughts. Your 52 voices are genuinely shaping the direction of our congregation, and we don't take that lightly. So what happens next? The leadership board is using these results right now as we build the 2026-2027 ministry funding plan. You'll see these priorities reflected in where we focus our energy and resources in the year ahead. A few things that you can watch for. Grace groups are coming. We'll have more details soon about how to get involved. We're continuing to deepen our community impact through our partnership with Step MC and the Food Cupboard. And we're committed to growing transparency in how we communicate about finances and decisions. If you have more thoughts or questions after watching this, my door is always open. You can call the church office at 620-241-3626, send me an email, or catch me on Sunday morning. This is our church, and your voice matters. Grace and peace.